Alright guys, KK4PYN back in with you today. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We're looking at the Commodore 64. Computer near and dear to my heart. And this is just kind of an update as far as where I am with mine. I know you guys probably saw my video where I made a couple power supplies. This one now has been working hours and hours with no problem. Have not had any problems whatsoever, so... this 64 has been completely restored electrically. I replaced all the capacitors, voltage regulator, stuff like that, everything that I could. Made sure all the chips were ideal, clean socketed, etc., etc. So it runs fantastic. It really does. Right now I'm using it with a little video converter here. It just converts RCA to VGA. And it breaks out the sound, which is kind of nice. And everything works pretty good, so I'm not going to get into the whole 64 itself. There's plenty of videos on the web about that, but I just want to tell you what's going on with me and mine. So, you know, the first order of business I had was the other monitor that I normally use for this, which I just use RCA, doesn't have sound. So when I broke it out to this, and I actually used one of the little Nightfire LM386 amplifier kits in the speakers, or I might have used an LM380, which was 2 watts, which I then robbed for another project. But so I built this cable out of a original Commodore video cable and just kind of did this weird breakout thing so that I could get everything where it needed to go. And I like soldering, so. But I made that one. That works fine. Right now I'm just using... I basically took an old digital camera cable and hacked it into a connector and taped it up, and you can see it works pretty good. The quality's not too bad. Of course, I'm recording on a cell phone here, so, and I apologize for the shaky, horrible cell phone video, but that seems par for the course. I wasn't sure how to set this video up with like a fixed location, because I wanted to close up on so many things and move around, so anyway. But my second project that I was working on with this was my SVideo cable, and I actually bought the right connector for the AV port, and I bought it at Mauser, or it might have been DigiKey, and I broke it out to audio and SVideo, but I think I might have the pinout wrong. It shows a pinout here in the original user's guide that I have. It shows the breakout for SVideo and everything. Wait a minute, it's not on this page. Well, it might have been. Anyway, I've got a pinout somewhere of where SVideo comes out of that connector. So I want to try and get this working. I don't think it likes this adapter. I built it specifically to use with this adapter so that I could use it with a VGA monitor, but of course, nothing ever works right the first time, so I gotta go back and check the pin out. These are kind of a pain in the butt to solder on, even though this is a good connector. Of course, it doesn't want to focus. When you solder on those pins, they tend to melt, so that can become a problem. But the real thing I want to get up and running is an Arduino 1541 adapter. I don't think that's exactly what it's called, but basically it uses an Arduino and I believe an SD card to load programs onto the 64 through the disk drive port, or the serial I/O port, whatever you want to call it. So I've got plenty of, you know, like cartridge-based games. I don't have a disk drive for it. I've actually got some disks, not anything that I'm interested in. This is kind of my favorite, Attack of the Mutant Camels, which... it's supposed to be pretty popular. I like it. I'll fire that up here in a minute, but you know, and I've got a couple joysticks and stuff like that. So this will use a Arduino and an SD card slot, and will transfer over. You know, I just took this disk drive jack out of another broken Commodore and broke it out to DuPont pins. I didn't even have to solder it. This one's just for... I'm not focusing today. This one's just kind of for proof of concept. So I'm going to hook that up to an Uno, get it working, and then eventually what I'll do is I'll take a Pro Mini and build one of my cheap and easy breakout boards, which you're going to see a couple of here in my next few videos. This one's for the X-Proto Lab Plane, which is a little pocket oscilloscope, so that I'll mount some BNC connectors over here for scope probes, and some banana jacks for voltage and stuff like that. And I just use the the header style breakouts and solder them right onto the board, and I can do that for a Pro Mini and then get the pin out for this disk drive jack working correctly. And I use this type of this type of proto board because it's got all the rows connected, so you don't have to have a bunch of solder blobs. You just solder everything you need in there, and it pretty much works. So hopefully I can get that working, something like that working for the Arduino, because that way I can just download games off the internet. Like, they're still making games for the Commodore 64, and run them with an Arduino. That'll be a future video, obviously. And the other thing I want to do is get I found a bunch of these type of connectors. I don't think this is the right one, but for the interface in the back, like the tape jack and the I guess it's called the user port, or I forget now. Anyway, but I want to do some hardware breakout so that I can actually program in BASIC and get stuff happening on hardware. I'd like to kind of blink an LED and do a hello world, and I've seen projects on the internet to do that. So yeah, that's where we're going with that. Just a general channel update. One thing I've got going on is I am finally getting around to categorizing or cataloging all of my parts. I've got a ton of them. These are the ones I've got done so far. I've got just boxes and boxes and boxes and rows and rows and rows and rows of parts that I need to catalog. Most of them I'm probably just going to keep, and I've got, holy cow, see these type of like drawers, those cabinets, I've got another 8 or 10 of those out in the garage, full of components, everything from ICs down to resistors, connectors, you name it. So it'll take a while, but I'm going to catalog all of them, and for you ham radio guys, I'll probably put them up on one of the sites, and you guys can share in my collection there. So, but yeah, we're just having fun with the 64 today. It's kind of a slow day. Let's do a little bit of test here real quick. Give you guys some 8-bit glory. I don't know. I've been watching the 8-bit guy here the last couple days, and it just made me really want to mess with the 64. I love it. It was my first computer. We'll load up Attack of the Mutant Camels here. So, and we'll get the, oh, I guess we got to plug in the door. I make the world's worst videos. So you guys keep subscribing. We're almost up to 100. That's good news. We get to 100, we're going to have something special going. So there you go. There's the SID chip in all its glory. I'll beat this game one day. I like dying just for the graphics. That should be a good t-shirt. Come on. There you go. Yeah. So, trying to play that game through the monitor or through the cell phone screen is kind of hard, but anyway, that's it for today. You guys, please follow me on Twitter at KK4PYN. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. And if you want to see more content like this, please support me on Patreon at patreon.com/KK4PYN. Would really appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk at you soon. Stay tuned.